Okay, guys, we are back like we never left. This is episode 9 of the Small Cap Review. Um, Before I jump into the charts and what was traded today, um, just a quick note. Someone left a comment. This was the first comment that I ever had on this channel yesterday, and more or less was saying, why don't you tell us stocks that are going to go up before they go up? Give us stock picks, give us call outs. Um, it was kind of dogging me for it. Um, that is not the point of this channel. This is review that I would be doing myself every day to help make myself a better trader. And this is the kind of content that I wish there was more of when I started trading. Um, there's people in the space that are legitimate good forces that will help you, that can encourage you, show you what is possible, show you how they trade. Um, but there's probably a lot more that are not really acting in good faith. And a lot of times, those are the people that are telling you what stocks to buy, giving you call outs. That's not what this is. You're not going to make it in trading by being a professional call out follower. You have to learn how to trade. Um, and so that's the point of what I'm trying to do here. Show you my strategies, show you what I do on a day-to-day basis to makes me a profitable trader because it took me years to get to this point. And if I can help someone shave a little bit of that learning curve off, that would, that's what I'm here for. I would love for that to be the case. So anyway, whole spiel for another day maybe, but let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Now, we talked about at the end of last week how the market was hot. It was hot yesterday, but we also were mentioning that you have to adjust on a day-to-day basis. So right away in pre-market today, things felt a little bit different. Charts were not looking quite the same. And yeah, as we saw through the day, the momentum definitely did not add up to like it did yesterday. Excuse me. So this morning, even before the opening bell, I knew to be a little bit more cautious. And to be honest, I traded like, one of my mentors used to say, "Kaka poo poo." It was not a great day for me, but that's fine. As long as you lose less than you win, um, it's okay. So we'll go over some of those mistakes here. But first chart I want to look at was the top gapper of the day, NUWE. So um, daily chart, it was looking initially, actually, it looked like it was going to open under this range, under this 25-cent gap close level here, which I didn't love, below it. Maybe if it went above and based on top of it, we could be in some action. But, later on in pre-market, it goes through. So up here, I'm like, okay, this could be okay. We could get a pullback and then a nice move up here. But it just did the whole thing in pre-market. So when it makes a move in pre-market, it can make it less likely to happen, a second time. So we get this top out here at this daily zone, and right here on the daily chart, tons of levels. You could even draw in a couple more, but you have this consolidation, a couple of pivots to the downside. And this is really the last area where the stock failed. I mean, you can see it on this day. It had a little bit of a run up into these levels and failed. So when we get that, exact move in the pre-market, run up into the levels and fail, this is actually was more of a short setup than a long setup. You know, when you see it here, you know what it's going to be. 61 to 78 fib actually went a little bit higher than that. But a good short play, better better looking on the short side out of the gates for sure than the long side, and that is not just hindsight. Um, you do get this consolidation here on top of VWAP, and you do have some decent volume, but ultimately it is a failed follow-through setup, and once it dumps down through this, it's pretty much done. Even though it does have these strong levels here, um, it just to push back up through this and then through these levels was just unlikely. So consolidation here to show that they are, real and strong levels, but when they hang out there all day, it's probably not going to end up breaking through. It's probably going to fail to the downside and, probably have a big candle and end up closing the gap again to the bottom side in the coming days. So this was one, like I said, was never really interesting to me. Just because of where it opened in the context of the daily chart. So, um, We will keep going. What else we got? Next leading gapper, CMND. I'll pull this up. Again, we'll start with the daily chart here. Now this was one where, levels were, didn't have me feeling bias one way or another. It's kind of, you could say, yeah, it's opening on top of this pivot um, where it did have some respect in the past. But when we look at the actual structure from pre-market, where we're getting this wedge pattern, you kind of just have to wait for that to play out. And, up here was a very clear top at the pre-market. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wicks up into this level, combined with this upper trend line here. So watching this candle, it kind of, did it perfectly. Went up, tapped the start of the pre-market zone and this upper trend line, and then just failed down through it. So, you know, you had to wait 1 minute into the day to see that this probably was not going to, be a name that's going to reclaim pre-market highs after it rejects it for a 10th time at the open and fails this very obvious pattern. Um, and patterns work, patterns play out because everyone can see them and everyone understands them. It's not anything more than human psychology being played out on a chart. So the more obvious the pattern, when you do get a fail or a breakthrough, something that everyone can see, more people are going to be, looking to join that side or the other. Um, and again, this is more of a short setup. I mean, this you could have actually just played this at the open, risking this 186 or this 191 level. Um, but how we do it, if you don't catch that, draw the fibs out. And actually, you don't even get enough of a fib bounce here. So once it failed, it was off radar for me, unless it was going to come on top and consolidate back towards the opening level. So again, once it's done, it's toast. Back probably going to end up with a 5-minute 200. Same thing as NUWE, probably getting that 5-minute 200 hit. Um, and yeah, so I mean, right away to start the day, it was pretty lackluster. I mean, it was, like I said, right away. In pre-market, I could feel it was a different kind of momentum day. And then right off the open, yesterday we had things like TCBP, NUVO, uh, EBS, multiple SGE, multiple names just really behaving well out of the open. And right here, you get the exact opposite of that. So um, when you feel that shift, ease off the gas, wait for a real play to set up. So, and actually, we really hardly got a real play all day. So the other gapper that I will cover is AIRE. Now, this is one where daily setup not so bad, but the pre-market ruined it. And this is one that I did trade, and I'll talk the specifics of how I traded it. It was, you know, I think me, like probably most other traders, thing to work on is patience, being okay, not taking a play, knowing cash is a position, and really, um, a way that I like to think about it, the trades that you take are a reflection of your self-respect. You can't be making trades out here that just, sabotage yourself, that are not the best trades. You have to respect yourself, respect your knowledge, what you've learned, how far you've come in the trading journey, and just not be making, um, for lack of a better term, rookie mistakes on this thing. So, daily chart was a little ugly, but we did have nice zones on it that it was opening on top of this previous consolidation. These wicks down here made for an interesting level that you could play off of. So that's kind of what I was looking at, but when I said the pre-market structure ruined it, this is what I mean. So it actually pops up in after hours, and we fade quite a ways away from it, and we create this secondary zone in the pre-market where we have this bottom of this previous zone. We come up and test it, and we reject it. We come and test the bottom of it, we reject it, and then, you know, even though we get a really nice weak open look where we're dipping into a zone below these levels and then coming back through it, I took the trade as we broke above these daily pivot levels. So I was in, somewhere around 123, 124, something like that. But in my head, I have this zone drawn out for a reason because I'm expecting when the stock comes up to this zone, it's going to be met with selling. So I was silly. Stupid's probably a better word. Yeah, I took it. It got 10% move up into it, but I didn't take profits. I don't want 10% profits, and even though I don't want that, I should know. This is an area of selling. Be on the right side, take some profits. So I was stubborn. I got dumped on. Took a loss on the name. And then obviously once it's down, gets down below this low it made in the first 5 minutes, then it has, nothing that I am looking for in terms of structure. I did like the volume coming out of the gates, especially here, but just when all of that gets put underwater, it has, the reverse effect. So now we have levels up here that even lower that it's going to have a hard time breaking through. So it's just done. After this, it's done. So took a loss on that name. Shouldn't have traded it in the first place. But when I saw NUWE and CMND fail, I got a little impatient. So lesson to be learned there for myself. Um, and also, I guess a thing to mention, just because we mention it when it works, got to mention it when it doesn't work. It did have 76% insider ownership. So that was another factor that I had, you know, no one thing makes me trade a name, but it was just a tick on the good side or the bullish side of the name. So um, anyway, we'll move on. GSUN was the one that got away. Um, this was not on my pre-market list, of course. I mean, if you're looking at that and saying, "Oh, I'm going to trade this thing today," I don't know, but it hit scans right away, and so as soon as it hit scans, I quickly drew out these levels. So that's one thing that, maybe if you're newer, you will get better at, more accurate with, faster at, is just drawing daily levels, daily zones, daily pivots, um, and just kind of having an eye for what you're looking for. So right here, when it opens and it has this nice little pivot here on top of the zone, pivot down here, pivot here. This is a nice area. This is a nice daily zone with pivots in it. I like to see that. And we get this, so opening candle, it's on radar, it dips below, and then it reclaims. So honestly, right here, you can take this trade. I mean, this is before the volume starts to come in, but like we know, strong stocks make low a day in the first 5 minutes. So you get that here, you get a wick below and above key daily levels, and with this, it had a little bit of range too. I mean, these candles are 14, 15% candles. Um, Levels not smothering it right above. I mean, I wouldn't draw this as, a pre-market level. I had nothing up until these daily pivots up here and this window gap on the daily. So a lot of range. I mean, if you're just sitting here after this candle's made, you're just drawing it from the high. You're like, okay, maybe I can get 25% plus out of the name. So that comes quick. You do get this gap fill really quickly and then a rejection of it. So um, it would be hard for me, I know I talked about wanting to improve on it yesterday, but after seeing this, it would be hard for me to want to really stick around. But we do end up, pushing back up and then getting a nice flag on decreasing volume. That's really what you want to see down to the 8 EMA and then a strong move up from there. So I think, did this halt? No. There's an, did it halt? Did it halt here? I don't know. There was some name that halted this morning. So this would it could have been a nice play, but it is always harder for me to take something that I've not done pre-market work on. It feels a little more gambling like, if you will. But it ended up being a really nice setup. Positive stacked EMAs below and above daily level, good risk level to base it off of, and a nice price target above. So I definitely could have played this name, could have played the flag on it a little bit more risky since we have so many levels above it. And then let's talk about where it tops out. Like we said, if we go to these daily levels, you just have to keep on drawing them as it goes up. I did not have, this daily zone drawn out when it was all the way down here. Um, Look at this on the daily. Very clear. recent consolidation that has not been tested. This came up and touched the bottom side and rejected it. But to get in the zone and this upper zone has not been touched, um, makes it a little bit more likely for it to fail there. If you're an EMA guy, this is the what's the 200 SMA, I think. I don't even know. I've got some lines on here. This light blue and dark blue. One is SMA, one is EMA. But um, yeah, there's a couple. Really, it's this consolidation that made me think, okay, this could be a top out here. And then we get these upper wicks. Upper wick, fail, upper wick, fail, upper wick, fail. All these wicks here, creating a nice top. So when we do get this kind of last push above and below the level, makes for a pretty clear short. General rule of thumb, easy up, easy down. Really only had one section of consolidation, but other than that was a pretty straightforward move from $3, more than doubling up to 720. So I can expect a pretty clean fade from it, and it comes all the way down to the most powerful levels on the chart, this daily gap. And so you could add a really nice move. I mean, if you're, again, really the ideal trade would have been here. We'll draw the fibs. You already know what this is going to look like. Um, get the fibs out. 61 to 78 fib, right there. So say we're playing it that way, which is how I would. Um, we won't even give ourselves the top, middle of that zone, risking 45 cents, and we end up, making over $2. So, over a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio on that, and also I would argue pretty high probability as well. So good trade to take on the short side after it gave a ton of range on the long side. You just had to be quick enough in the morning to get it off of scans and make an accurate play on it. So the last name that I will, oh, and also 78% insider ownership on this one as well. So example of it working, example of it not working. Like I said, there's no magic bullet, but only factors that go on one side or the other in terms of do I want to play it or not want to play it. So MTC was the other name, and this was one that, really kind of had no shot to play it, at least, for how I'm trading. So, we do get this nice kind of, you know, pattern in pre-market. Um, but let's start with the daily chart before we get ahead of ourselves. So this is a name that does have a history of running. You can see just at a glance these big upper wicks. Last time, big upper wick. So it's, in your head that it's, in the personality of the stock to, be a jerk to the shorts. So when you get this move, again, I'm not wanting to play something right below a daily level. So any kind of play right at open, yeah, you can draw this pre-market zone here. Sure, go for it, and get this dip off of it. But with this, it could easily just go up to this zone and reject it. Or to this daily trend line and reset, or not even daily, this pre-market trend line and reject it. So when it gets this really fast halt up action. There's no pullback, no play for me in this name into the halt. Now it is similar to what was it? What did we have yesterday that was gapped above the daily or halted above the pre-market zone? Maybe it was SGE. I think that might have been it. Kind of a similar thing here, but with a daily zone. So instead of having to fight through it, fight through the daily pivot, fight through the daily zone, it took the easy way out and just halted above it. So the halt above is nice, and you get this nice secondary move up. So if you're in the halt, that's kind of what you like to see. You wanted to see it open up, not open flat. So the open up, get the extension into the next level of daily zones, which are easy to draw. Multi-touch pivot down here, ultimate high there, right into the zone, and then a really, really fast sell-off. Not barely even pretends to try to push up here, and just met with more sales. So this is a day where the shorts win. A lot of good plays on the short side, not so many on the long side. So yeah, that's just kind of just a lesson in taking everything day by day, and taking the opportunities that it gives you, trying not to overextend yourself or take plays that you know are not high quality plays. I was guilty of that today, but um, the good news is that gives me a chance to be better tomorrow, and that's kind of the attitude you have to have because if you're not good at losing, not good at saying I'm wrong, then this is a tough, tough game to be in. So, hope you guys made out better than I did today, and we'll do this again tomorrow. So, if you have any questions, comments, even if you're the guy from yesterday, leave a comment again. I don't care, uh, and I'm happy to. I'll definitely hit you back. And if you have anything you want to talk about, just let me know. This is Gary Long. Appreciate you tuning in.